What's up? What's up? What's up? You are listening to her in the huddle on WOVU on 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I'm here with my girl, Sapphire. And we are here with our guest, Mr. Irie Harris from Cleveland.com, who covers the Cleveland Browns. And let's just go ahead and get it going right now. The Cleveland Browns were 3-0 after preseason. But Irie, tell me, should I be jumping off of the bridge into Lake Erie just yet?
No, I do not think so. You know, yeah. I mean, it's the preseason right now, so even if they did go 3-0, that would have been nice to see. But losing, even on the other side, you lose all three preseason games. It's not the worst part. This isn't championships are not won in August. It is a time in which you're seeing what fits, what hidden gems there could be in the roster that you might have picked up from the undrafted pool. Seeing who fits, who doesn't, especially for this team. And we talk about the importance after last year, the number of injuries that they endured and still were able to make the playoffs. And they're thinking, how can we find the best crop of guys possible that we might have to put on practice squad, but will be there, and just in case, last resort.
Well, I would say, this last game was a little bit more competitive, where the other ones were not competitive.
It was, yeah.
So, this game was, even though they still lost, Geno Smith started and he looked good. Geno Smith looked good against our defense. But, one of the things was, at the end of the day, you saw your quarterbacks be a little bit more competitive because they're trying to make the roster. You got Dorian Thompson Robinson trying to make it, Tyrone Huntley trying to make it. So, they pretty much played the majority of the game. Jameis Winston started it off. Did DTR possibly make a case to possibly be the second quarterback?
I don't know about second quarterback, since it seems like Jameis Winston probably has that in the bag, just off the way that they've gone about him right now during training camp. But he does make a case, whether we like it or not, for QB3, because he had played during the first half of that third preseason game this past Saturday in Seattle. And when that touchdown had occurred down the middle from him to Jamari Thrash, and that was their first touchdown of the game, which was scored in the second period of that matchup. That was actually the first passing touchdown made by the Browns all preseason. And furthermore, by that point, that was only the third touchdown the Browns have scored all preseason. And each series that led to a touchdown just so happened to be led by Dorian Thompson Robinson. So I think, numbers wise, or even just coincidence wise, that can look good on paper. I do think he did make a case. I'm not saying he's going to get it, but he did make a case to where you have to give him a little bit more thought. But Huntley did look well too. The three touchdowns, and he played the entire second half, 3 touchdowns, 746 yards passing. 17 of 22. I really saw some really good things from him. I felt this was his best. This was really a reminder, I feel, because he had looked just all right within the last couple of times playing during the preseason. But this was I'm here. I'm for real. I can do this. So I like what I saw across the board from the quarterbacks. And last thing too, I don't know if they told the Seattle fans that this was the start of the regular season, because watching that game, that energy was thumped up, jumping through the TV. I'm like, man, this is the preseason. Are we sure? Like, did they tell them at Lumen Field this is the start of regular season or something? I don't know.
They don't call it the 12th man for nothing out there.
They don't. You're right. They don't.
So your coach, Stefanski, what are you doing with Tyrone Huntley and DTR?
I'm sorry. See ya! I'm sorry.
Which one?
Look, first of all, let me just back up. You need to tell me if you hit a cheesesteak spot when you were back home. That's really what's on the top of my mind right now. Like, how was the visit with the fam? Let's get this in real quick before I release my inner Sapphire.
It was good, thank you. I appreciate that they're listening to me right now. What's up, Paris 5? Hey,
all right now.
We went to a nice cheesesteak spot out there in Westchester. The Dub Steaks Westchester was pretty good. They got the nice copper cheese with it. Yeah.
Mercy, Lord have
Yeah.
mercy. Not the copper cheese.
I should have brought back one first. Should have asked you for your order. Don't worry, I got you next time. No, in October when the Browns go visit the Eagles, I got you.
Okay, very
What's
good.
copper cheese?
Oh my God! See, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm dealing with right here, up here on the North Coast. I take her home, Ivy, please.
I got you. All right, we got that out the way. Go in, OG. Go ahead.
Nobody answered my question. What is copper cheese?
Put it on.
Well,
Cheddar cheese?
It's a specific kind of cheese that goes good with the cheese. We'll get to that later. OG, go
Okay,
in. I want to hear
because that's why you and Jay need to be hitting the road with us when we go see the Browns Phillies game or Eagles game, and also the Commanders game. Then you would have the experience, okay? But I have digressed enough. Let me just say this: I'm all down for DTR, and the biggest reason why, those two mammoth hits he took in the first half. Like, did anybody see the game that I watched? Like, he's a petite, you know how I feel about this.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
He's a petite guy. Where was his protection? That TD that he threw to Thrash, did you see the hit that he took?
Because right to talk about it. Go ahead, talk about it.
Okay. It's painful because, see, for me, even though this is preseason, you have to show me that you're going to have the capability to protect your draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that. Okay, I mean, I'm old, I'm up in age, and maybe, my eyes, there was something going on, I didn't see that. He took a mammoth hit, okay, throwing that TD. And remember, last week, we were looking at him when he came off the field, looked like he was, doing that old man gimp, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does that forebode for later in the season, right? That was the first hit. Second hit was about a minute left in quarter two. I mean, I think they got the penalty on that for the full body thing, which, I mean, I don't know. I think that's just regular football, but clearly you young kids, you changed the game, right? But he took a second hit, driven into the ground. Like, seriously, I think we're going to have at least 3 quarterbacks on this roster going into the season if that's what our line is going to be doing. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think there definitely is some questions regarding this offensive line. This is really, for some time during the offseason, I would say that the running back room definitely posed questions just because we didn't know what they had, without Chubb, we didn't know would be coming back for some time. And then they made the moves with Deontay Foreman and Naeem Hines, even though that's still questionable. And that was really this offensive line. And even going back to, I think I mentioned the prior days during joint practices, that first day alone versus Minnesota, I counted at just around 10 penalties that offensive line, received. Majority of them were for false starts, a couple of them for holding or some kind of other offensive interference. There were legit questions regarding this offensive line because that was the I'd say position group wise the one group that suffered the most injuries out of anybody within this Browns team last year. And they had a lot of injuries, but you saw what happened during that playoff game when they had guys off the practice squad that just were not ready. They were still trying to get their time and matching in everything within the elements of when it comes to blocking. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not 6'8", 250 blocking, but I do know the difference between good timing and bad timing and being able to, protect everybody in the backfield that has the ball because that's your job. We have not seen much of that to a even solid rate so far during these preseason games. So that is a legit question.
Could you put a percentage possibly on how much of this effect is Bill Callahan being gone? Could this be a percentage of the struggle? What effect, of him being gone is this team having that struggle, because he's one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL. He had got this line to be one of the best lines in the NFL. And you saw they went through 5 different quarterbacks last year. Protection, once those injuries happened, in the very beginning, there was issues. But, it was sincerely a next man up, type situation. And, you still got performance out of this offensive line until you got to the playoffs. So what we're seeing this year with all the penalties and stuff like that, how much is it because Bill Callahan is gone?
That's a possibility. I think, even going back to the 2022 season, the last time where there really wasn't as many injuries within offensive line, this team did finish tied for 6th in overall pass block grading. Per PFF and very well within other areas. They weren't giving them as much sacks as they were this past season. I believe they finished top 12 in sacks allowed during the 2023 season, around 45 to 50. It does go back to, with that says the injuries and all right, bringing in guys, we're going to give a little bit, but there is a possibility to where you bring in a new guy and there's just not gelling off that as you expect to, or as we were used to with Callahan in motion. So there is a possibility of that, but I think the answer will be further answered, throughout the season, especially starting in a couple of Sundays from now.
Mm-hmm.
See, I just don't understand. I mean, for me, I don't understand how you kind of like on cruise control. It's like when you're on the highway and you merge on the feeder to the real highway. You got to go from cruise to like 80 miles an hour. How are they going to make this transition, even in week one, right? Apologize about that.
All right. So I did see her go like 80 because she was behind me on the highway. So I did see her kind of move to transition. But, one of the things I would say is that, it appears that this team, didn't give up, especially in this game against, Seattle. But you also had a quarterback that was playing for, his career, being on the line and stuff like that and a spot on the team, and Geno Smith did this against third and fourth, string defense, people that wanted, roster spots. But the defense, didn't really look good at all during this game. But, they made it a game. They made it competitive. And that's what you're supposed to do. So some of the news out of Berea is that, Nick Chubb is going to stay on the physically unable to perform list. And that's going to go into the first 4 games of this season. How much is that going to hurt this team?
If any team, any offense, especially the Browns in the state of this offense that doesn't have Nick Chubb ready ahead of week one on the roster, it's naturally going to hurt them. But it's all about being able to carry the load, or at least within the running backs. So I think what really hurts is not so much the fact that they don't have. I mean, that hurts for sure. Chubb before the getting hurt was on task to break records we don't even know, lead the league in rushing yards, maybe even possibly put his name in the MVP conversation. Then the injury happens. Now it seems they're doomed. They're definitely stagnant a bit, but there's still that possibility where they can carry the offense, though. Even last year, the number of close games they had, and they finished, still right in the middle within points per game amongst, the NFL. But then the running back room, that's really the question, just the entirety of that room, because the troublous running back room looks like this right now. Jerome Ford, that's the only for sure healthy running back right now at the moment. Deontay Foreman suffered a rib injury. They'll keep updating us on that. Naeem Hines has yet to hit the field. Unsure exactly where Pierre Strong Jr. fits. Is he going to see more carries? Is he going to be used more within the kick return game? So that's really what's more so on my mind personally. Mm-hmm. And it's really just because of the fact that we haven't seen Nick Chubb on the field since week 2 of last year. So we're already used to seeing the Browns without Chubb. So I feel we got that out the way. They should already be prepared and thinking, how can we go about things and make sure we have a running back room that can combine their skills and agility to be able to produce, a good amount of a production that would equal out to what Chubb could do individually. And right now, I'm not sure if they have that right now, just off of injuries and how they're going about things and organizing their room.
If I'm Kevin Stefanski or Andrew Berry, if I'm Andrew Berry, am I picking up the phone and calling Kareem Hunt?
I don't see why not. And if you don't want to go there, I believe you still have what's his name? You have multiple other options out and about there, but I think definitely consider Kareem Hunt. Let's talk about that very quick. Why do you think nobody has picked up Kareem Hunt?
I don't know. And that's just a weird question because when he came in the game, he produced and he got, touchdowns for you. I think, there was an issue with the way that Kevin Stefanski used him and his situational play calling. But Kareem Hunt, when he came in, he got results and he ran hard for us. I'm not exactly sure. Apparently, he's changed his behavior. So that doesn't appear to be an issue anymore because, when he came here, he had some issues. And then, he got pulled over, while he was here. I'm not sure if he had marijuana or not. I can't remember. But, he did get pulled over when he got here. So a little, and that kind of, went under the wayside. But I don't really know. I don't know if it's because of, his past or whatnot. Teams don't want to take a chance on that. But when he came in the games, he produced for the Cleveland Browns. So, I don't see it's kind of this delicate dance that we're doing with him. We didn't call him back last year, but, when Nick Chubb did go down, we did bring him back. So I don't know why, they wouldn't just take another chance on it and take a flyer and call him in again because obviously, when he's playing, he's able to produce and get those touchdowns that you need to get. So I don't know what the issue is, but you need to call in Kareem Hunt or get some of these other running backs that are out here. I don't know of the ones right now,
Yeah,
but
well, yeah, and to further add on to that, because we are, like I said, talking about a room in which you feel they can produce together combined to an amount that Chubb would do it individually, because we know he was just that dominant. This is a running back team that the Cleveland Browns were 13th last year in total rushing yards per game, and just around 115. Amongst guys available right now that can maybe get into around that amount, if not any less. Maybe a guy like Dalvin Cook, four-time Pro Bowler, somebody who is just doing everything on the gridiron with Minnesota, and then seeing it kind of have a down year, and I'm unsure exactly why off top with the Jets. He's still not on the team at the moment.
okay.
Maybe that's somebody, free agent wise that AG could call up. But I'm sure that's part. I'm sure there's multiple guys that have ran across their their table right now. So I'd be willing to believe that they're exercising every option possible, or if need be, going back to the old reliable Kareem Hunt, somebody that missed the first two games of last season, but yet still led the team in rushing touchdowns at 9 and rushing first downs as well. So you have some options, but there definitely is some questions when it comes to this running back room, the offensive line, protection. That's kind of what it is right now. Sapphire.
I missed it. What about Foreman? What's going on with the ribs or whatever this injury is?
Yeah, I mean he there was a time during the game. I believe I want to say the first play of the second quarter, in which he had a 3-yard run, and then suddenly he just would just stay there on the ground for a minute, but then they were able to pick him back up. Stefanski was asked about that, earlier today. He said he has a rib injury and won't practice tomorrow, but that they'll keep updating as the week goes. And it's definitely been an up and down training camp preseason period for Foreman. He had the scary blow to the neck during the time in West Virginia. It took him a minute to get back. His first time back is during the week versus Minnesota, joint practices. He does well in that preseason game versus Minnesota. He had the only touchdown, 85 total yards from scrimmage, a 21-yard return, 46 receiving yards off of 5 catches. Like, it was a productive week, productive time. He seemed to be moving up in the depth chart possibly, and then this happens too. So it's just another minor setback for a major comeback, because I know that's a big sleeper of yours, a big favorite of yours.
Yeah, I mean, because he is. I'm going to stick to that. He is my sleeper, and he went down hard. It was an awkward kind of fall to the ground and kind of had weight on top of him. I mean, I look at him as that type of back that's going to be our power back, on a goal line situation too. So I know he walked into the locker room, but of course, Coach K doesn't really show too much about what's really going on with the players. So I know he'll be back. I really hope we have the 53 cut tomorrow, I think it is.
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
So my eyes will be on that, and I just think he's our sleeper. But I thought Jerome Ford showed me a little something this game that I haven't seen. Like, I know you raved about him last year. Okay, I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you that, right? 44 catches, 319 yards, 5 TDs, tied for second on the team. But he showed me a little bit different. He showed me flicks of he really has taken his off season and invested in raising his game to the next level. What are your thoughts on that, little man?
Yeah, I thought he did well with what he had out there. I mean, I know it was only 3 carries, but I thought he did what he could out there, and I'd say that he is looking to level up a bit, even if it's not that much. Similar to your point, be able to show us something different compared to last year, because it seemed last year, especially early on, when things were going well, his production would decrease as the season went.
Yeah.
But he was still able to, the speedy guy out there who would just dip and dab around guys. But then it seemed that opposing defenses would catch up to that, and that's when his production would start to decrease quite a bit, towards the end of the season. So I assume he was working on that along with better protection as well as a running back. I agree when it comes to being able to see forward, show some different things this year.
It was curious because Kiki, whatever, I can't remember her name. You know what? Let's take this on the other side. How about that?
All right, we're going to take a break really quickly. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back. All right, girl, is everything okay? Is everything okay?
Girl, work. I told you, it's work.
Tell them you off right now.
I wish I could. I wish I could tell them in my kind of English. You're just blowing up. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why you didn't pick up? Okay. They got me looking sideways. I want to come back in on.
I'm gonna let you do your thing more.
Okay. No. You keep doing you because I'm like I'm a little all over the place.
Okay.
But I want to come back in on. Was it Kiki interviewed him on
Yeah,
the side?
Kiki. So
Okay. It's curious. I'm gonna come back in with that. What she asked him, what he said, and what you feel the ramifications are for the Dorsey offense. I'm gonna let you go.
all right.
Thank you for showing up. We need you. We needed you today.
I need you guys.
And I was saying, little man, meaning your age.
I like it. Now you're good. I need you, man. Cook up.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. And remember, you can keep it locked here on your regular radio dial at 95.9 FM. You can download the WOVU app so you can listen to it on the go. And then you can also listen online at WOVU.org. So those are the ways that you can listen to us. We always appreciate you listening to one of the best radio stations in the world, WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. I'm here with Sapphire. I am also here with Mr. Irie Harris of Cleveland.com, and he's taking our questions because next week is a big week. So one of the things that I did want to get to is that it appears that Deshaun Watson is going to be starting against the Dallas Cowboys. First game of the season, game at 4:25 start. This is going to be Tom Brady's first game. So the NFL anticipated this being a big game. This is a primetime game. So I was going to say it's very important that he starts. But is there any indication or anything, because he had right arm soreness. So that's one of the reasons why he was not able to start this game against Seattle. But do we see any of this playing into the beginning of that game at all? Because, he hasn't played since what? No, October?
Yeah, since week 10.
Yeah.
Of last season when that triumphant comeback versus Baltimore. That's the last time we've seen him on the field in a game. And that's counting the preseason period as well. But there is a possibility to that because if I'm Dallas defense right now,
I'm salivating.
They finished ninth in points allowed last year, fifth in fewest passing yards allowed last year. To your point, salivating, just dreaming about nothing but keeping pedal to the metal, belt to pressure on the go every single play because you're going with a guy that it could possibly, and we don't know for sure. You would hope not as a Browns fan, but you would assume just because he hasn't played at all since week 10 is rusty within that actual game situation environment. So you're really going to give him a rude awakening. And yeah, there is a possibility to that. But what are you guys' thoughts? Especially, I've been waiting to hear from you, Sapphire, just regarding Deshaun Watson not playing in this game versus Seattle. When for some time it seemed that they would. They were saying that was the plan. suddenly decide to backtrack a little bit, whether intentional or not. He's out during that Wednesday practice last week to do a bit due to some soreness. He didn't pass as much, and we find out that he's not starting at the last minute ahead of Seattle's game. What kind of impact could this have on Watson?
I mean, I appreciate that. Y'all know how I feel about this, right? We really will never know what's going on inside of that locker room. They will not tell us. We don't know if it truly is just rest and being overly cautious or if there's something wrong. I believe wholeheartedly that the organization, of course, has the players' best interest in mind. At the same time, I just don't know how you can switch up gears like that and start your season in a flow when you haven't had any kind of real-time game action. And we know the history with Deshaun. Like I'm pro Deshaun.
I'm not expecting it to be easy or look good at all from the very beginning.
I tell you what, if they want to see Browns Nation tear down the stadium, our guys need to win that game by at least 14 points. This is the point of preseason. This was, to me, as a fan, you already reduced preseason by a game. It's not 4 games anymore in preseason. It's 3 games. We needed to see Deshaun Watson out there.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Listen.
Absolutely
like
not.
Geno Smith, give me one
No.
series. Give me one series. Sorry,
No.
I wanted to see Deshaun out there. I wanted to see Miles out there. I wanted to see the starters out there. That's just me. The third game, I'm not talking about game 1 and 2. The third game, give them some kind of real game. Thank you. I just, that's my opinion. But
Yeah, no.
because like Rachel never agrees with me either when I say.
I
The
do.
New York
We
Yankees
always
are going to win the
well,
Super Bowl. Hello, Aaron
that-
Judge, 50-51. I'm just
the
saying.
New York Yankees are going to win the Super Bowl. That's for sure.
Okay. World Series.
I wasn't. I didn't want him to be played at all. I wanted him to sit out and rest and give that arm as much rest as possible. And I'm glad that there's another week. I could have said that the players, could have started and stuff like that and played a series in a game, this final game. I believe that, that would have been fine. But as far as Deshaun Watson, you bubble wrap him, you don't touch him. His first time touching that football in a game type situation is right there against, because when that kickoff comes, the coin toss, Cleveland, I think Cleveland should look to receive the ball first and show everybody what we got.
This is where I say I love my co-host. I love her. But she is a homer. Okay, you are a homer. They needed to have their starters have at least one series in this third preseason. That's just my story. I'm sticking to it. So
yeah, but Deshaun couldn't because he had arm soreness.
This is the AFC North.
Yeah.
Are we gonna start our season off this year with his arm was sore?
Yeah.
I mean, what is 50 million a year? Come on. Yeah. Browns Nation has been holding their breath. This will be the third season we're going into without knowing, is he physically capable? Right? Is he physically capable?
He'll be ready.
Leading our team.
He'll be ready. I promise you.
Okay,
he'll be ready.
It is August 26th at 6:28 p.m. Y'all heard it first.
6:30. Just add round up to the nearest number. He'll be fine. Okay. He'll be ready to start against the Dallas Cowboys. Book it.
Okay.
Book it. Eddie said I'm right on a lot of stuff. I've been right on some records and stuff like that. Deshaun Watson will be ready to go. It's gonna be he's gonna be a little rusty. He ain't gonna be as rusty as that first game that he had against the Texans when he first was allowed to play. He ain't gonna be that rusty. I expect that first series to maybe not, maybe result in a field goal or something like that.
I sure hope he's not as rusty as he was in that game, since that was almost 2 years ago now. Up to this point, personally, I also agree with him, since that and of course it can sound selfish because everybody has their own ways or their own reasons for why they want them to play the contract or this or that, or we can see you, make sure you're good. For me, it was coming from the mindset of just the athletes, right? Regardless if you're making big money or if you're on a non-guaranteed contract, before the regular season starts, you want to get those reps in. You want to be able to be in that game situation. For Watson, somebody who has had as many ups and downs during his saga here, so it's been so far in Cleveland. What I was thinking is he should have been playing just so that he can get in that consistent feel.
Yep.
Just so he can get into that rhythm, being in that big stadium, the noise, the loud. seeing an opposing defense that's not wearing the same colors as you as he has seen for the entirety of the training camp period, and since going back to last season when he was out. And on top of that, allowing him to get his mistakes in right now, because for one, the critiques for his mistakes are louder week one and further on than they are during the preseason to me. Number two, well, I wouldn't even have cared if he went off for 230 in that game because that's not a regular season. It would have been nice. It would have given us even here 2 days later a lot more to talk about. But it was just more so in the sense of him being able to get into that field, let his body, let his mental state get back into that because too many times has he thrown way too many more passes at cross country Mortgage campus. Let's see him do it in an actual game stadium. Just so that he gets into that feeling again and says, all right, now I'm going back, to that routine that I used to. Because nobody wants to week one to come, and then there's the questions of, oh, man, he looks a little rusty right now for a series. Because we know everybody's going to hold their breath for that first pass at Cleveland Brown Stadium. And then, regardless of how that pass is, even that first series, that first half performance is, we'll start further questions of if he's rusty or not, should he have played preseason or not, how many series should he have played in preseason or not.
And get the mental right. Get the mental
That's
right.
all it's about because it's not about anything physically at this point. The shoulder is fine. I'm not saying he can't be sore. I'm sure there's stories because he's throwing a lot of passes. However, it's nothing. I've seen the shoulder myself. It's sharp. It looks good when he's throwing it deep. I'd like to see him more deep, but that's just me though. It's about the mental. Football is 80% mental, 20% physical, right? So the physical part is fine. That's out the way. That's good. Bing, bang, boom. It's the mental side.
That's right.
If you're not mentally there, who are you? What are you out there?
And there's a difference in the touch from your teammates when you're at the practice facility
every day
versus
repetition,
right? Like a Seattle Seahawks. Like we're on the same page here. We're on the same page.
But we believe you when we say that he won't be a rusty week one because I don't feel like going into that anymore. I want to talk good about him and his performance, so I'm right there with you. Even him not being rusty come week one versus Dallas. I sure hope not. Don't feel like going down that road again.
I definitely feel like it's going to be a victory, though. We're going to win this game.
Well, yeah, because you have.
It's going to be a tough game too, but we're going to win.
You have offense, then you have defense. The Browns would have one of the best defenses in the league and one of the best kickers, and Dustin Hopkins. Is performing wise.
And I actually like that new lineman Zinter. I thought he did a pretty solid job.
Yeah,
in Saturday's game. There's a couple rookie mistakes, but in terms of switching off. But I was very impressed with him. What did you think?
Look at us praising a Wolverine in this studio.
Yes.
I know.
Now he's a Brown.
Now
Now he's
Brown.
Leave that niche stuff behind. I thought he had a very solid game for a rookie.
He did.
So what's up with Dustin Hardy and his concussion? Justin.
Yeah, I mean
and Denzel Ward. Any news on his concussion as well?
They're
so petite, Rachel.
They don't have an update. It's no progress.
I'm shocked. With all due respect, I'm shocked he's still playing in the NFL.
Yeah, because him and Tua, they're at the point where they can only take so many more, right. Before something happens.
Yeah, they're gonna football at that point. It's the life, the life sense to that. I can't actually do some of the basic things that we take for granted sometimes with this many hits. So they'll be able to get better. Yeah,
definitely. All right, we're going to take another break again. We're going to be right back. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
That running back, they just signed right for the game. What was his name? Habibi.
Yeah.
He was. I was like, wait, who is this dude? He got it in. I can't remember where he was from or what's his name.
They waived Aiden Robbins, by the way.
What?
Yeah. And Jacob Saylor's another running back. Yeah.
Robbins is going to get socked up like a biscuit and gravy on some team.
And you're talking about Holini, right?
Was that his name?
Yeah, but from Seattle side.
No. This was a Browns player. They just signed for the game. I thought it was like Habibi.
Yeah.
I thought it was a running back. I don't have the web page to find. You know what?
Did you still when you talk about Deutsch's offense?
Yes. Yes, I do. Thank you. I'm sorry. That should be the last.
I'll let you take the lead on that.
I want to talk about that Mike Hall situation. And him being put on the
Yeah.
What's that? What is that? LV? It said L. You said LV. I think in your text.
I meant DV.
Okay, yeah.
My autocorrect was correcting. You see, I said Dustin Hardy instead of Justin Hardy.
Well, look, I have my days more than you.
It's Monday.
It's going good. It's going good, except for my little rude ass customers.
Huh.
Sorry about that. That's why I want to make sure you make up for that.
That's so sweet. I try.
I'll talk more than enough. Let's give you some.
So ESPN Browns sources Browns Chubb out at least first 4 games. Did you guys see that?
Yes.
All right, welcome back to Her and Huddle and WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. I'm here with Sapphire, and I'm here with our special guest, Mr. Irie Harris of Cleveland.com. Irie, we got to talk about this Mike Hall situation. He is expected to be placed on the NFL's commissioner's exempt list after this domestic violence situation. What can you fill us in on that?
Exactly that. It might be a little bit, but my great would then I didn't go to the full report. Other people did, but I know the same knowledge as you though regarding that, and we'll see what else happens within the coming weeks.
Okay, so are we expecting him to still be on this team? Because I'm surprised that he still is.
That will be determined. I am not in those rooms. We will see ahead of week 1 and further.
Yeah, because what was that player? I think his last year that cut up so much. It was last year or the year before last, where he pretty much got kicked off the team.
Perrion Winfrey.
Yeah, Perrion Winfrey.
He had multiple incidents.
Okay.
You know, so it was multiple upon multiple, like one by one, a little domino effect, if I remember. And then it led to that video last year, a weapon, a woman, and something similar to that. But it wasn't his first incident like this show with Mike Hall. That was multiple, so that pretty much led to him being jobless. But for Mike Hall, though, and even then somebody, was asked Stefanski about that, and he said he didn't have much of an update, and we'll see how it goes. So that's really what it is right now. Anything that they know, they're not going to tell us right now. So we'll have to see going into this week and further on. Yeah,
they said that they have a toxic relationship.
Are we talking about Coach Stefanski? Somebody said toxic. Wait, what did I miss?
Him and the girlfriend. I guess there was an incident in Columbus Airport where she was striking him and he didn't want to move forward with any charges. So kind of sounds like they have a toxic relationship, and hopefully they might be able to sit down with a counselor so no more incidents take place and things of that nature. So what?
I just, you know what? We got to call mental illness for what it is. Domestic violence is very near and dear to me. I grew up in a home that was full of that bleep. And, there's certain people that have to decide if they really want to get the help. And maybe right now, this is not the time for him to be thinking about football, right?
Yeah.
I mean, did I understand correctly? He has a child with this woman. Like, we need to be talking about.
I think so.
Yeah, wish everybody the best and hope people turn their lives around for the positive. But there is no space from my fandom to even think about feeling sorry for anybody that puts their hands on another human being. I don't care if it's male or female. So I just want to get back to talking about football.
And we're on our way back.
Mm-hmm.
We're on our way back. But, gotta, wanted to update about that situation because, even though you said Perrion had multiple, this to me with a gun, I feel as if, he should be kicked off the team. But that's just, my personal opinion.
It's unexcused.
Yeah.
We've said. What goes on in our room, I don't know. So we'll see if if he still has a job, if his spot on the roster was still retained, by week 1 and further on.
Yeah, you can't allow this stuff to continue. So anything else about
I want to go back
Browns?
to Kiki's interview of Jerome Ford on the sideline as he left
Aditi?
the game. Why did I say Kiki?
I don't know.
You must be thinking about Aaron Judge, over 50.
Aditi Kikinwala.
There you go.
Kikinwala.
How should I remember that? Give me some tips, some strategies on how to remember that. Aditi, okay.
Yeah,
Aditi.
like Aphrodite.
I love my co-host. But anyway, no, Aditi asked him, what were the things that you felt you needed to work on during the off season? And he talked about his pass pro, right? Working on that. And it made me, in my mind, remember that we have a new offensive coordinator. I don't know if it's in name only, but what are your thoughts on what this could portend for the style, the play calls? Are we going to see more passing, right? Are we going to be more heavily weighted to pass than run based on what his answer was to the young lady on the sideline whose name I already forgot again? But what do you think about that?
There's a likelihood to that, and I think the one example to be used would be Naeem Hines, who is the one guy who knows about Dorsey's system for anybody who's still learning. Even though he still has yet to return to the field, he also is a running back and also spent time in Dorsey's system, with the last season. So then during his time with Dorsey in 2022, when there with them being traded and everything, he had exactly -3 rushing yards because he only had 6 carries. However, he was used quite a bit in the receiving game with 53, and really his bread and butter during his time with Dorsey was within the punt returns, the kick returns. He had 19 kick returns for 154 yards, 2 touchdowns, 16 punt returns for 153 yards, 0 touchdowns, but still pretty productive. However, he was somebody else who was really used within the sense of the receiving game and the return game, and he was a running back. So that was really where the bread and butter was when it came to Dorsey's system. Even for pass running backs being before run, they were used more in the receiving game compared to the rushing. So there was a likelihood to that. And the first excuse you could probably use because they don't have a guy with the capabilities of Nick Chubb in that room right now. And it's understandable. There's still some rushing on that can be done from fourth in a healthy form and somebody who really is, a bulldozer with speed. But yes, there's a possibility to tending to pass a bit more than running right now. And even furthermore, going back to his 2022 season, the last time he was coaching a full season with Buffalo, that Buffalo team did finish 4th in total yards, 8th in total passing yards, 9th in total rushing yards. So they still had that balance, right? And so that's what you would hope for. But there is, I think, a likelihood to where they tend to pass a bit more, especially if Deshaun Watson comes out and then shuts everybody up and does well. And if it exceeds the bar of expectation, who wouldn't want to see him irritate a bit more? And we talked multiple times about the weapons he has.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Murray Cooper, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, even the young guys coming in, Cedric Tillman, Jamari Thrash making his way in. Like you have guys. You can really wreck these passing yards up with. Hope to see a little bit more pre-snap motion, but we'll get to that in a bit. But thoughts?
Yeah, but I love where you're going because from what I understand about Dorsey, he is that type of OC that wants to give his quarterback a lot of options and stretch the defense, right? It's like think about when you were a kid in the sandbox, you had all these toys, right? Whatever you felt you were, saw or whatever one you wanted to use, it was there. I like what you're saying, right? Question again comes back to what? Will Ken Dorsey be calling the plays? You mentioned Naeem Hines, and just for Browns fans listening out there, running back, 27 years of age, 5'9", 196, 6 years experience in the league, and knows Dorsey's play calling. So back at you. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, regarding Dorsey and if he could call the plays or not, that was established during training camp that it would be Kevin Stefanski, your favorite, and that everyone asked about when Dorsey was asked about that and if he knew that going in, how the feeling of that. He stated that he knew what it was coming in and was still, in the running though, and still wanted to be here in Cleveland and make something happen. Sometimes that can be called for, hey, I needed a job, Other times it was, that I feel a genuine sense to where like, yeah, he might be calling the plays, but that doesn't mean I can't still have my impact within, meshing my offensive philosophies with his and making something happen, which I believe can happen. And I definitely understand that and respect that because everybody wants to make the play calls, but a lot of people don't think about the behind the scenes moves,
right?
And the impact that can really be made in that. So I do believe Dorsey can have that kind of mark within this Browns offense, for better or worse. I know that you two have had your thoughts regarding who's making the play calls, and I know when Van Pelt was let go, I definitely had some questions spurred from you too. Like I can already see that fire raised right now just as I say that name. Yeah.
Because he went to New England.
Yeah.
Now, if New England comes out like 4-0, check me into Metro Health Hospital's nutbag ward because I just don't understand. I still don't understand why he is not on our team. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. But
hopefully, real quick, if they were to go 4-0 during that, then more credit will be given to Jared Mayo, the their head football coach, compared to Vanderbilt for obvious reasons. But yes, going back to you though, I understand.
Got to do deep breathing.
All right, we're going to take another break and we'll be right back. You are listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We will be right back.
Rachel.
Love it is. Okay, where we going next?
Defense, kickoff returns. I feel we need something more than enough regarding our offense. We want to go to the other side of the ball, or is that not
what are you thinking, Rich?
Or the return formats.
Well,
who could be the starting returners? I know everybody, the whole info is just the bats.
So let's get that little bit in and then do Cavs right quick. Just two things on the Cavs that they're moving their training camp and about Isaac Okoro and then the guards this weekend and today.
So when that answer for later, you said
that'd be at the very end.
Okay, all right. Okay. No, that's good. I'll follow you guys' lead.
Okay.
And we're going to go over to the spot after.
All right. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. And I'm here with Sapphire and our guest, Iree Harris from Cleveland.com, Browns beat reporter, kicking it with us today and giving us a lot of knowledge about this team because we're still going to have a week off still. So no football this week, but we'll have football next week. And to open it off is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs on their way to Baltimore against the Baltimore Ravens. So, this should be interesting because the Chiefs play Baltimore in the playoffs, right? At Baltimore. Yep. And kind of, did the thing. So I'm super excited to see that matchup again. I've hated Patrick Mahomes for a long time. I got a chance to watch Quarterback on Netflix, and the series kind of humanized him a little bit. Okay. And I'm like, he's still, kind of corny, but, he okay. So I don't want the Chiefs to win, and I don't want Baltimore to win. So we kind of need Baltimore. We kind of need the Chiefs to knock off Baltimore for us for our playoff positioning. So I guess we'll be rooting for the Chiefs that night. But not for them to be very good this season. We just need them to knock off everybody in the AFC North for us, except for us. And then, we could go from there. So I'm excited.
I totally agree. Like, I don't know. I just have always felt like Pat Mahomes has been phenomenal for the NFL.
Yeah, I hate
it. He's pretty amazing. I think he's
phenomenal.
I think, and I know what even Mahomes in a wheelchair would still
absolutely
scare me.
And he can dictate. He can dictate, like literally, will his teammates to a higher level of play and influence the referees. By the way, did I forget to say that part?
Yeah, man. I call them the Kansas City Cheats. So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to that game to start off, the season. So I'm super excited. So no football this week, but Next week, we're going to have some football, and it's going to be amazing. And the Cleveland Browns are going to play the Dallas Cowboys. And I bet Dallas probably can't wait to come here. We only see them here like once, if that, every 4 to 5 years, So, with Green Bay coming here and stuff like that, we don't see these teams on the regular basis at all. So it's kind of awesome. We were there in 2020 where Odell Beckham, had the run back or whatever, and we got the victory in Dallas. I was in LA at the time and could not get the game, so I was kind of bummed, but that was a good game. It was a crucial game as they made their trek to the playoffs that season. So, all right, Sapphire, you said you wanted to get back into something right quick.
Well, before I do that, I mean, yeah, the boys are coming to town, but I saw that CD Lambs just signed that $136 million deal, so we have that to look forward to. Okay. I mean, how about he's going to come out and have a statement game? I mean, we should expect that, right? So just want to push that out there, but I'm believing what you're saying.
Not against Denzel Ward, baby.
Okay.
He'll be back. He's going to shut down CD Lamb.
This is being recorded. We're going to have to revisit this after that.
This is going to be a wonderful game. Don't know where Dallas is going to go forward, respectfully, during the season for the kind of orange cone that they've hit along their road right now, within their window of winning. But I can say, especially week one, this will be a heck of a game to watch. Definitely be a statement game, I think, within both sides, because we said Dallas' defense ferocious. Can Deshaun really do well versus them on the other side? Like CD Lamb getting paid, he's feeling good going in. May I remind, even though he had the injury, what happened last year when Joe Burrow signed that big contract a few days before week one, versus the Browns and, what they did to him. So I'm willing to bet Jim Schwartz already has that total amount on the contract printed for everybody to see and, go out there and do what they do.
I'm just speaking of Joe Burrow. I think you like his hair. I think his new hair color.
What is it, blonde?
Is it blonde or is it like a
white,
like gray?
Shady, yeah.
Is that what it is, Slim Shady?
Yeah.
I think about these things because, I always look at sports outside of our bubble. And I think he's really focused on his look, probably for obvious reasons, right? Merchandising or whatever. Perhaps he was distracted in his off-season training. I mean, seriously, I go that deep, maybe, just maybe, we sweep the Bengals this year. What do you think?
I don't see why not. I can't entirely blame him for the look. I mean, I almost did the same thing a number of times. I bumped the Marshall Mathers LP, so I can't be entirely.
That's too blonde. That's too blonde. I'm sorry. That's too much. Joey B should have just stayed regular. That's a little bit too. I mean, he was already what? Sandy blonde, dirty blonde anyway. Light brown. That's a little too much or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how he went down last year, and Cincinnati's year just went to mush. So I actually like Joey B. He's the Ohio State Buckeye. Even though he won the championship with Louisiana, he still crossed the stage at Ohio State because he recognized what university was the best. So that's what he did. And he believes in Black Lives Matter and equality and stuff like that. So I kind of, like Joey B a little bit. Never want him to win against us ever, but he seems to be a pretty decent person.
Well, I just go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, that's probably cool, but I know for you guys as Browns fans, on this side, he's gonna be the enemy in those couple of games this regular season. So,
oh yeah, I ain't worried about it because Kevin Stefanski got Zach Smith's number, so right. I ain't worried about that. So
I'm going to just defer to Rachel when she talks about Coach K. I'm just trying to go into the season with an open mind, because he looked a little tight on that sideline. He was pacing, especially. Do you remember that Miles was being interviewed, and he's over there trying to talk about his trip to Japan, how special it was, anime, traveling over there with, I think it was St. Ignatius players. While he's talking, okay, the Brown special teams gave up that 79-yard punt return.
I'm looking at you, Bubba Ventrone.
I mean, come on now.
Real quick, that was not a good look at all. Even then, the flag came about. You think it was going to go Seattle's way? Nope, it's on Cleveland. Seattle's touchdown to a score. But while we have this moment, you speak of traveling, that reminds me, we have to take this moment to give you your props. Because going back to last year, there were multiple times when the Browns defense specifically were performing, or just the entire team as a whole, underwhelming play on the road, any traveling games west of Cleveland. And you would always say multiple times, can they travel, get out there maybe a day early just to adjust to the time zone, adjust to, the environment, the weather. And there were multiple times in which, you was mentioning, and I would say that is a valid point. I haven't even thought that far yet. And what did they just happen to do, coincidence or not? They travel out there a day extra early. They play Saturday, but they travel out there on that Thursday, get adjusted that Thursday and Friday, and they did say they were treating that week as a regular season week. So just giving you your props on that.
Thank you.
Because weren't they flying out the day before games and stuff like that?
They would have practiced on Fridays and then fly out the.
Which just doesn't make any sense.
Within the very next day. Not saying that it won't happen. Not saying regarding that, but for this past week, coincidence or not, they did exactly what Sapphire said they should have been doing last season. So I assume they must have tapped in or heard one of the episodes.
They listened to her in the Huddle show.
Yeah.
Rachel L. Hill. Yeah, no, I mean it's going to be. I think it's going. Yeah, it's going to be a good look. I think we'll see a difference because of that this season, right?
Yeah, let's hope so. So really quickly getting to the Cavs. Looks like the Pistons, Wizards, Spurs, and Clippers have interest in Isaac Okoro, who is a restricted free agent, and they might look to move him this month. So I'd be fine with that move because he hasn't developed as a shooter whatsoever in any capacity. A couple threes, here and there, but he needs to go to a team that can develop him offensively. And I think that this team maybe has given up on him, but there's always hope out there for someone to be able to be a better NBA player. He's still young, so he's still in his prime, so he can learn how to do that. Also, the Cavs will be holding training camp at the IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. They want to train at world-class facilities, so they're going to be there October 1st through the 6th for a 6-day camp down there. And Cleveland Guardians are playing right now the Kansas City Royals. They won this series versus the Texas Rangers 2-1 after losing the series against the Yankees 2-1 and getting swept by the Brewers. So this is a big series with the Royals because they're nipping at our heels with both Minnesota and Kansas City are 3 games out. Also they lost today in the first game of the series 4-3. So Josh Naylor was able to score. Your boy Josh Naylor was able to score Jose Ramirez and tie the game at 3. And then unfortunately, Bobby Witt Jr. Hit a home run in the 8th inning to break the tie for Kansas City to win the game. So now Kansas City is within 2 games of the Cleveland Guardians to take in the AL Central. So that's not what we want to hear right now. Let's see if there's a score.
And while you're looking that up, I just wanted to push out there Nick Maletti, who helped found the Cleveland Cavaliers and became a prominent figure in the city's sports landscape in the 1970s, has died. He was 93 years old. Rest in peace, sir.
Yeah, it's really sorry. And I wonder why they waited so long to give him his championship ring. They waited I think they just gave it to him last year or the year before last. And I'm like, they could have gave it to him, when it first happened. Right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers are winning against the Kansas City Royals 2-0 in the bottom of the first. So that's where we're at right now. So the Cleveland Guardians really need this game. They really need to take this series. They got the Pirates coming up who, coming into town who are not the best, another Philadelphia team that's, not good.
There's
So
only one Philly.
I mean, did I say Philadelphia team? I did not mean to say Philadelphia team. I meant to say a Pennsylvania team. That ain't about nothing. So they'll be taking them on. So hopefully they can.
I'm going to be torn.
Why?
Because I love me some Philadelphia Eagles. I love me some Jalen Hurts. It's going to be a really hard game for me, honestly. Really.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Irene, for your facts and knowledge about the Browns. Thank you, Sapphire, for being with me, being the best co-host. Shout out to Kate, who could not make it. There was a birthday. And this is Rachel Hill. This has been Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We are out of here.
Solid. Y'all carried into that.